Welcome to Linda Liu IP course. My name is Eric Geng. I'm a patent attorney from the Department of Electronics. Today it's a great honor to share some experiences about the Chinese examinations on methods of diagnosis and treatment. And some suggestions for overcoming these rejections will be given as well. According to Article 25, Section 3 of the Chinese patent law, methods of diagnosis and treatment are not patentable. Two reasons behind this prohibition are given in the examination guidelines, which are: firstly, for humanism, a medical staff should never be restricted in choosing any possible approach for diagnosis and treatment. And secondly, as the object of any diagnosis or treatment is definitely an animal or human being, such a method is deemed as having no practical applicability. I'd like to further point out that in a practical Chinese notification of office action or decision of rejection, the reason used for rejecting a method of diagnosis or treatment is always that the method belongs to a subject matter that is listed as not patentable in Article 25 of the Chinese patent law. That means you will never find any comment about its practical applicability of that method, although it's one of the two reasons behind that prohibition of Article 25. Definitions on the method of diagnosis and treatment are given in the examination guidelines. It is said, methods of diagnosis refer to the processes of identifying, studying, and determining the cause or focus of diseases on living human or animal bodies, and methods of treatment for diseases refer to the processes of intercepting, relieving, or eliminating the cause or focus of diseases, so that a living human or animal body may recover or gain health or relieve pain. These definitions are very important because most of our arguments in this regard are based on these two definitions. Then let's talk about how we can handle with these rejections on methods of diagnosis and treatment. The following tips are from our daily works and have been proved to be useful in Chinese prosecutions. From the above two definitions from the examination guidelines, it can be seen that, firstly, the methods of diagnosis and treatment must be applied on a living human or animal body, and secondly, the direct purpose of the method is a key consideration when making a judgment. So accordingly, we should try not to define any method to be applied directly on a human body. It would be wise to not include any step to be applied on a human body, or any effect to be realized on a human body. For example, if we have a method for improving the image processing as a part of X-ray diagnosis, then as a first step, we should say acquiring an X-ray image of an area of interest, but we should not say project the X-ray beam onto a part of the human body and get an X-ray image. By this, we can explain our method as a pure image processing rather than diagnosis, where the object of our method is the image, and the direct purpose of our method is to, for example, highlight a part or a feature in the image. So our method will not be deemed as a method of diagnosis anymore. So the second consideration is the direct purpose of our method. In the same example of the X-ray imaging, a shadow in the image may imply, for example, a tumor, and such an identification of a tumor will be deemed as a method of diagnosis. However, extracting or highlighting such a shadow from the image will be patentable in China because our purpose is to get an intermediate result, which is the shadow. We are not making the ultimate diagnosis. The above suggestions are given by taking the method of diagnosis as an example. And of course, the method of treatment follows the same idea. Firstly, we should not define our method to be applied directly on a human body. And secondly, the purpose of our method should not be eliminating the cause of a disease. For example, a method for ablating a tissue in human body with a radiation beam will not be allowable in China, but we can still seek for patent protection on a method for directing such a radiation. Again, first of all, the potential usage of the radiation in ablating should not be mentioned in our claims. Instead, our method can be drafted as a pure control method, for example, for controlling the movement or activation of the radiation source. Then, the method has nothing to do with the living human body or the healing of the human body, and the method then becomes patentable. Let's go on with the example of the ablation with radiation. It would be very difficult to make any argument if we have the following case. For example, if our control of the radiation relies on a real-time feedback from the human body, like the updated depth of the ablation, that means the method must be applied on human body, and then the method will be deemed as a method of treatment. I'd like to call this a patient-in-the-loop method, and from my experience, it's very difficult to get this patient-in-the-loop method allowed. In sum, to avoid any rejection on method of diagnosis and treatment in China, we should always bear in mind the above two key considerations as I mentioned. Just try to draft our method as can be implemented independently from a human body. That means, firstly, our method should not be applied directly on human body, and secondly, the purpose of our method should not be identifying or eliminating a disease. As I just mentioned, a method for acquiring an intermediate result or a method for controlling or setting a medical device could be patentable in China. Generally speaking, in practice, the Chinese examiners tend to challenge any suspicious medical-related method claim, and it is normal to receive a rejection in this regard. But by following our above suggestions, most of them can be overcome, and the patent protection on our method can be eventually granted. The above are some experiences and conclusions from my own practice. Hope this will be helpful for your Chinese application. See you next time.